Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, readers of all persuasions. It is I, Gayla, and welcome back to Book Uncorked and Caffeinated, and welcome to April's Reads. I read 9 books, and I primarily read all 9 books with my ears. I listened to them on Audible or Hoopla, Libby, all the things. But 5 of the books I actually have in my book collection. And so I'm going to start with those first, and then I'll throw up the pictures of the ones that are truly on audio or Audible or Hoopla or Libby. So let's get started. So one of the first books that I read this month was Everyone Here is Lying by Shari Lapina. This was my book club read, and this was a mystery kind of thriller. This author is known for The Couple Next Door, and this book was about a murder, and everyone that was a part of this person's life was pretty much lying. The kid was lying, the adults was lying, there were affairs happening, and because there was an affair, there was a child kidnapped. Let me go back a little bit. There was a child kidnapped, thought to be murdered, but the child winds up killing the person that was hiding them from their parent. It was a mess. But it was actually a good mess. I really enjoyed this book. I was unable to go to the book club meeting, so I don't know what the ladies really enjoyed about the book. But in our chat, everyone had something to say, so I had to turn the chat off for a minute so I could finish the book. But if I had to give this rating, I would rate it a 3.5. I really enjoyed it. It was some twists and turns. I didn't know who did it at first, and so it was cool. Another book that I read this month was No Ordinary Love by Maya Ariel. This was on my April Books Read, so I actually was able to read it. And this was about a superstar who was married to another superstar, and she was pretty young when they got married, and he pretty much kind of, I want to say groomed, because it wasn't like a sexual grooming, but he groomed her. So when they were up for divorce, it was like she would leave with nothing. It was like a Tina Turner situation. She would have her name, her music, the rights to her music, everything she did. So leaving him was a big thing. But also there was a guy who was also a part of the industry and really liked her for her, but she wanted to know how it was to live her life without depending on a man. It's a really good book, and this is the author of Also When I Think of You, so I want to jump into that as well. But yes, this was a good book. I would rate this a 3 star. Now, this next book, baby, I was waiting for this. I think when this came out, I was just like, Big Girl Blitz by Danielle Allen. My God, today. So I have been waiting for this book. I love Curvy Girl Summer. I love Plus Size Player. And Big Girl Blitz was super cool. Jasmine, I'm not gonna lie, Jasmine made me want to fight her a couple of times. I'm like, open your freaking mouth and tell this man what you want, because he might want the same thing. But anywho, it was kind of a slow burn, but when they got hot and heavy, they got hot and heavy. I would definitely rate this a 4.25. I think my favorite out of the 3 is Plus Size Player. I think it's the favorite because I think I see myself more in Plus Size Player, but I was so happy this came out. I was unable to go to the release. I found out about it, the book tour with Danielle Allen. I found out about it later, and so I didn't have a ticket, but I am so happy I read this, and I'm looking forward to reading more from Danielle Allen. The next book I read which was a fairly new book that I got recently, was Viola Davis, her collaboration with James Patterson, Judge Stone. This book was awesome. So I intentionally listened to this book because I knew Viola was actually reading it, and I love her voice when she does voiceovers with like commercials and her films. She just has this voice. Whatever character she's taking on, it consumes the room, and I knew it would be based on what this was about. This was about a mystery. It's kind of like a mystery taking place in the South, Alabama, and we know in the South, especially Alabama, things go on. I can actually see her being a judge. Her, like, even though she did the voice, like, I can see this is part of her MO, like even acting this out. Actually, this would be a good movie. I think they should make this into a TV adaptation. This was really, really good. Just Stone, really, her morality and integrity and character was really put into question because of the nature of what was going on in the book. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there was some really heavy topics talked about in this book. And it's actually things that we talk about today. Like, this book is not far removed from what is happening in today's world. So I think this was a great read. But if you want to listen to it, I suggest you listen to it as well. This was super cool to listen to. The next book that I listened to is The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. So this is the follow-up to The Housemaid. It got really mixed reviews. Frida McFadden gets mixed reviews in general, but I love their writing. She writes like quick, fast thrillers and mysteries and things like that. Some are better than others. But this was the follow-up to The Housemaid. This was Millie's life. So Millie was in the first one, The Housemaid. And so Millie made it out of that, if you know, you know. And now she's at another house, dealing with another woman and man, married couple, and dealing with another murder. So that's where I'm going to stop telling you about this so I won't overdo it. It got mixed reviews. It got 1 star, 3 stars, 4 stars. I would give this a 3-star. I really enjoyed it, and I am going to consider this series. I think it's 2 more books, 1 novella, and another full book. So definitely. Then the other books that I don't actually have in my collection, physical collection, but I did listen to with my ears, is Bitter and Sweet by Rhonda McKnight. So this was a book about 2 sisters who, they really didn't like one another. They had some hard times as siblings because of how they grew up, and that's why it's called Bitter and Sweet. One was going through kind of like a divorce, and then one kind of never got a chance to just develop. She had a baby with her boyfriend. The boyfriend died. The family of the boyfriend didn't like her necessarily, and she went back to her family in the South to deal with some other issues that was going on. So it made her and her sister kind of come together and talk about their issues as siblings. It was a really good read. It got deep a couple of times, but I'm looking forward to reading more from Rhonda McKnight. And then the last 3 books, Capadonna 2, and Capadonna 2.5. So I didn't get to read 3 and 3.5 because they weren't available on Hoopla yet, and I might just have to break down and use my Audible points to listen to them. But if you know, you know. The Delgado brothers are crazy. So I read, what was the first one? I'm drawing a blank. Who was his brother? Capri is the sister. Oh my God. I don't know who the brother is. Why can't I know who the brother is? I'll have it on the screen. So I read that a few months ago, and now I'm reading Capadonna. Capone. Why couldn't I think about that? Capone was the first of the series. So you have Capone, Capadonna, and Capri, which is going to be the sister. So I have 2 more books in the Capadonna series, and then I have Capri. But so Capadonna, the first one was about Capadonna getting out of jail. If you read the first with Capone, you know that he had a twin brother. His twin brother got out of jail, and then he happens to meet the love of his life. But the love of his life is mixed up in some other things. He kind of was like her rescue. It was like a damsel in distress, and he came to her aid. And boy, does he come to your aid. You thought Capone was crazy over his woman. Capadonna is crazy times 2. So you kind of see the development of their love story. And then Capadonna 2, you see how that just blossomed, how it also causes problems, not in their relationship, but in the world in which they live. Capadonna, coming out of jail, had issues with his child's mother. So his baby mama did not tell him he had a child. So he spent all this time in jail not knowing he had like a 20-year-old walking around who was actually working with the Delgado family. He found out about it, and then he cut all ties to the baby mama. And what happened to the baby mama is some real gangster-ish. So you have to read this series if you like that urban romance, that shoot 'em up, bang bang, that hood love. Capone, Capadonna, and I'm sure Capri will give you all that you need in that. And then Capadonna 2.2, I think everything is coming to a head now. Like the gangs, the street, all the things, the drugs, everything that they're involved in is coming to a head. People are dying. People are threatening people. People are rolling up on folks. People are just, you know, handling their business, as you know, in that world that they do. And I had to stop myself from reading comments about Capadonna 3 and 3.5 because I don't want it to be ruined for me. So I think I might break down and actually use my points to get Capadonna 3 and 3.5. So those are the 9 books that I read. Bitter and Sweet by Rhonda McKnight, Capadonna, Capadonna 2, Capadonna 2.5, The Housemaid's Secret, Judge Stone, Big Girl Blitz, Maya Ariel, and Shari LaPena. And I don't think I gave a rating for the last 4 books. So for Bitter and Sweet, I would give it a 3.5. And then for the Capadonna series, I would give them probably like a 4.5. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of that series. But until next time, do all the things, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and also drop in the chat what you read in April. Give me one book that you would have read that you saw in my list, and then give me another book that you have read that you haven't seen me read, and maybe I'll read it. I am taking a list of people because a lot of people suggest books, and I am taking a list, but I gotta go through my stuff too. But I'm probably gonna do a month where I read suggestions from the comments. So put them in the comments. Tell me what you're reading and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.